want you to leave here without realizing what I can do for your car.
Like what? Take over the payments for me?
So I've been watching these movies, and I watched Car Wash, classic comedy from way back in the day, has like everybody in it, from Richard Pryor, basically does a cameo, pulls up in this stretch gold Lincoln Continental limousine, and the actor, if you watch that scene, that is watching the car go in, which, by the way, it's a great movie or whatever, but in the history of cinema, there's never been worse actor eye lines in a movie. If you watch that, whenever like something's happening and then they cut to the actor looking at it, it never lines up. You know what I mean? Like, they just said, hey man, there's a car driving by, look at it. So they just had him looking at it. It completely doesn't line up. They're always like way too high, way too low, or turning their head way too far. But the actor who's doing it, this isn't his fault. It's the production. Should have told him where, you know, should have told him where to look. And it's little things like that. That's how people end up getting shot on set, you know? No, I'm kidding. But it is, you know, it's you know.
In these photos, a distraught Alec Baldwin, reportedly in tears, outside the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office. Authorities say Baldwin was filming when he fired a prop gun during a scene, killing one crew member and injuring another.
Sorry. Anyway, too soon? I'm not laughing at the victims. I'm just saying. Anyway, the actor that is doing that look, I'm going, I know that face. Who is that guy? He's a great character actor. I saw him in a bunch of movies. And one of his most legendary parts is that guy, to this day, played a scene in a movie that was the most horrific fucking thing I'd ever seen up until that point. He's the guy that gets cut up in the shower with the chainsaw in Scarface. And I remember me and my siblings talked my mother into taking us to that movie when it came out in 1983. And she took us to that movie. And when that scene happened, which happens pretty early, if my mother said, that's it, we're leaving, I would have been like, no problem. It's still one of the most disturbing things I've ever watched, but that actor is in it. There's all these incredible cars, and it's not really just like the classic ones. So another movie I watched Q&A, a Sidney Lumet movie that stars Nick Nolte, and once again he's playing a cop, like in 48 Hours, except this time it's not a comedy.
Listen to me, Mike. If you're dirty, you're going. And anything you say to me from now on, say it to me in the Q&A.
And Timothy Hutton's in it, Luis Guzman. It's a great cast. It's a really, really, really good movie. And but dude, the level of fucking racism in that movie, and I don't mean like the standard, just like, you know, dropping the N-word and stuff about Latinos and Asians and all of that. Like the level of shit, but just between the white people.
Gentlemen, you're in violation of police department directives. Racist epithets are not permitted.
Just between nationalities. Like, I lost count how many times you greaseball fucking wop, it's just you fucking Mick, blah, 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 like all of this shit, like.
I'd like to apologize to everyone. This office does not condone any racial epithets.
But it wasn't inaccurate. It's like, that's kind of like how it was. I saw this thing, Eddie Murphy was doing this great interview. He always has great interviews, but he was doing this interview about 48 Hours, and he was talking about that scene he did when he goes into, it was supposed to be like the country western bar, and there was all those rednecks and stuff in there. And he was saying how he was really pissing people off. You know, those people actually really getting mad in the scene. And the the person interviewing it was young, was just going, really, really? And he goes, yeah, man, you got to understand, like, when I made that movie, like, literally, I mean, that was only, like, 13 years after Martin Luther King got assassinated. Like, there was a lot of that shit was not fucking resolved at all. So, but anyway, it is it's one of my favorite, actually, Nick Nolte performances. He is so fucking menacing and scary in that movie. I've never seen him play something like that. You know.
Jesus, Lieutenant, you're hurting me.
Not as bad as I'm going to. Now, what's your name? What's your name?
Sophia.
And it just made me be like, I got to do a deep dive on this guy. I got to watch, like, I saw, like, North Dallas 40. I saw 48 Hours. Then I saw Q&A. I know I've seen way more than that. I just can't think of anything right now. But I got to watch more of that. But if you guys have any recommendation, I would definitely like to hear it.
All of these racial and ethnic words and labels that they use constantly, peppering their speech. And of course, they're thick-skinned, so you can call anyone in this movie anything, and they brush it off. But actually, it's not so much of an insult, it's more territorial. It's saying, I'm me and you're not.
Welcome to Nova's world. Why don't you come take a ride with me real quick? I'm about to get on road, in the range, new Bugatti, on my brain, BBS is in my face, like Johnny Dang, Balenciaga.